All right, so let's start from the beginning, sir. Can you give us a little bit introduction about what all you did, so that many of the guests who are not from India can get a sense of your journey and, up to now, maybe in a short gist. I know it's a long journey, but still.
Thanks for being gracious and making the book here. I think my goal is to get the Bangalore story out there. And the reason to get the Bangalore story, or maybe I'll give you my background later. Yes. I think what's important is that the India story is told for like the audience globally, right? And you can of course talk about Indian heritage, culture. I think that part of the story is, there's enough, there's the Incredible India campaign, and we do a lot of around that. But I think the innovation, the dispersion of innovation, and the reason you do something like this in India is because innovation is not centered today in one part of the world, right? It's not only in the valley. It's there in Israel, it's there in India, and in India and Bangalore, it's the hotspot for innovation. So I think just to say that there is innovation happening in Bangalore, I don't think does justice to the story. Why did Bangalore become that hub for innovation? Why did Bangalore become the hotspot? So there is no contemporary biography of any city in India that talks about the last 4 or 5 decades, right? As to what made our cities become, crucibles of this new activity, whether starting, and Bangalore so happens that, we can lay claim to about 60 to 70%, and if you want to be very generous, 80% of everything material that has happened in this country post-independence.
Let's give a big round of applause for that, right? We are in the city of Bangalore. And
I know. There's people from all cities, and but I think, I'm just talking about Bangalore. But there's, Mumbai has given us Bollywood. Okay. Mumbai has given us the stock exchange, which is a very respected stock exchange globally, top 5. But what Bangalore has given you is like the first aircraft, right? This is where the first aircraft was built in the country. Wow. The first spacecraft was built in the city.
Wow.
The first large, unicorn, right? Flipkart,
yeah.
was built in the city. The first, the largest exports in this country that has given credibility to this country is the whole IT and BT sector. Okay. 50% of that happens from the city, and that started from here. And of course, the whole digital public goods ecosystem that Nandan started, right? Which is what India is very proud of. So, like I said, it's somewhere between 60 or 70% of every meaningful economic activity that we as Indians are proud of have some roots in the city. Wow. But the story is not something that people in India just because I told you all this, you say, oh wow, all this happened in Bangalore.
Even I didn't know the flight thing, by the way.
Right? So we were the first city to get a street light in Asia.
Oh wow, that's okay.
Yeah, that's in the book.
Okay, right? Excellent.
It's the first Asian city to get a street light, right? Yeah, we have a plaque here. Okay. So I think this being the city of new beginnings, I think is something that, occurred to me like 4, 5, 6 years ago, and then the whole journey started. But just to give you a little bit of background, spent time in the US, like everybody else, studied, was in the startup ecosystem in the US, came back to India, did my first startup in the...
A new beginning, let's say.
Yeah, new beginning. My new beginning was here.
Yes.
So for me, this was in the 1997 when the first internet startup. So I did India's first internet startup called Netcraft. There was no internet in this country, right? So I did India's first internet startup, India's first tech venture fund, Erasmic, in 2004, then which became Accel. And then of course, that was a very nice journey, started with the funding of Flipkart. But anyway, now Accel is a 2.5 billion venture fund out of...
so it's billion with B.
Yeah, 2.5 billion. We managed 2.5 billion. 250 startups,
25.
250 startups,
Yeah,
okay.
and 25 of them are unicorns. Yeah, so
Wow.
that's-
Let's give a big round of applause. 25 unicorns. So 10% of that portfolio are unicorns, and wow, that's and how many of this 250 are kind of headquarters or based in Bangalore, let's say?
I think the average in India is about, in general, 50% of startups would be in India, 25 to 30% would be in Gurgaon,
Okay.
and the rest 20% spread across Chennai, Hyderabad,
Okay.
Pune, and Mumbai.
So Bangalore leads the table in that sense,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Absolutely. I haven't had the time to go through this book. I just read a few pages, and then we had at the unboxing wonderful story shared. So I got my book already signed by Prashanth. It's there in my room, and it's
So I'll just tell you about the book, right? So I think this is not a book about startups. Startups, I think, have been spoken about enough. I don't think we needed yet another book on startups
Correct.
in India. But I think it's about the people of the city. It's a multi-layered book on what makes Bangalore Bangalore. Why didn't some other city in India become Bangalore? That's always a question, right? I think this book answers that question. What makes Bangalore as a city different from other cities? Why did this become the philanthropic capital of India? And philanthropy in India started with the Tatas in Mumbai, right?
Correct.
Why didn't Mumbai become the next big philanthropic city in India?
absolutely.
Why did philanthropy? Because I talk about how in the city, when people get money, they want to do, it somehow propels them to do more good.
wow.
I mean, talk about sustainability, right?
Yes, yes.
So I think some of the best examples of sustainability getting funded,
Correct. Absolutely.
whether it's Kiran or
Yeah.
whether it is
Nandan,
Rohini or
Rohini, yes.
all of them. I think there is a very different behavior that when you get money in the city, you don't kind of wear it on your sleeve, right?
Wow,
So
that's
it's very
interesting.
difficult to understand when you meet somebody in the city that what really is the value, the net worth.
What's
of that
the net
person,
worth, yeah?
net worth of this person, right?
Okay.
In Mumbai or Delhi, I think the conversation starts with that.
Yes, yes, absolutely.
So here it takes a long time to understand what's the net worth of that person.
Wow. Sir, what I wanted to say, therefore, is this book has these very interesting perspectives on what makes Bangalore tick and how these outcomes have come to be, right? So on that day, when we launched the book at the Taj West End, it was a beautiful event. Everything was perfect to the dot. They were sharing a few stories from the book. So I want you to tell me one or two stories for our audience, which is in the book.
Yeah.
And then, of course, I want them all to buy it and read more stories. But
Yeah.
as a teaser, I would ask Prashanth sir to share a couple.
No, I think I'll tell you about a couple dimensions that we have covered in this book that are not very obvious to all of us, right? What is it to be a single person in the city? We're a city of young people, right? What does it mean, right? And so we kind of dwell a little bit deeper into these lives of young people in the city who just like you would have, I mean, the whole American dream kind of thing, right? In what you hear about in the US. Bangalore, when we speak to them, they all tell us the same story. Why did you come to Bangalore? They say, this is the city where people dream and dream big. And that's what we heard. And we just came here because for us, that was what we wanted to experience, right? And they, of course, have gone through various challenges. It's when you're single, when you're in a startup, it's not easy. There are people who have
Till they meet you, it's not easy, but yeah, okay. All right.
yeah, no, there's a burn. There's this whole.
Yeah.
Some people get burnout. There is, challenges in terms of emotional
Correct.
lives of these people. So I think a lot of that is covered. We also covered, for example, startup couples.
Okay.
The city has a lot of startup couples, and what does it mean to be a startup couple when both of you are running startups in this city, right?
Okay.
So that's
Nobody
another
cooks.
interesting-
Okay, just, yeah.
Yeah, so that everybody is swigging or whatever.
Except at work, they are cooking something. Yeah, all right, yes.
So
Yeah.
so that's another interesting dimension we have covered.
Wow,
We-
nice.
we-
That's,
we-
I think, unique. I've never, I don't think there's any other book doing
No,
that, right?
Yeah, I don't think anybody's
Yeah.
covered that. See, the other thing we kind of talk about is this whole idea of mafias. You know, Silicon Valley had its own mafias. What are the mafias in Bangalore?
Oh, wow.
What came out of all the people who were influential in Flipkart? What came out all the people who were influential in InMobi,
Okay.
Infosys, Wipro? So what are the mafias that kind of influenced the next generation? Because there's mafias are good and
Bad, yeah.
and bad, but I think it's
Yeah.
in this context mostly good.
Yeah.
They really fuel the ecosystem because they're very supportive.
Perfect. Yeah.
There is a little bit of that clannish thing that comes with
Correct.
mafias,
Yeah.
and I think they're very supportive of, which is very apparent in the Silicon Valley, right? So
Yeah.
you just get very easy support, no
Correct.
matter what.
Once you're inside.
Once you're inside,
Yeah.
everybody is with you.
Okay,
Right?
cool.
That's
Okay.
the same thing we see in Bangalore, and it's not very clear outside, right?
Yeah.
So basically, this book dwells into those elements
Wow.
that for the outsider are not. So we kind of unravel a lot of.
So, won't you get into trouble writing all this? Like, will any of these guys call you and say, wow, you've revealed too much? Or-
No. See, so we had about 600 interviews.
Wow.
Totally.
And how long, sir?
3 years.
Wow, let's give a big round of applause. 3 years of work and research for one book. Yes. Yeah, continue, sir.
Yeah. So no, you have a question. Yeah, yeah, please. I think I can keep talking about this book, but yeah.
First of all, thank you for getting you, and I looked at your launch offline on LinkedIn. Thank you.
Right.
This interview was done under your supervision or directly by you, because
No, I would have been there in about 50% of those interviews.
Oh, wow.
And about 30% of them are digitally captured. So hopefully we'll release some clippings from those. I mean, if you're getting 1 hour or 2 hours of Nandan's time, you might as well capture it on video, right?
I agree
So
totally.
we have done that.
and a related question,
Yeah.
right? Did your professional roles help you with the access, or any other
Very
writer
much. No,
writing
no.
this? It's not easy.
It's not easy, and my co-author, in fact, I have to acknowledge that I don't have a background in writing, and I don't have an MBA, so I never really learned the art of articulate writing. So I very much an engineer who happened to get into investing. So I think like everything I do in life, I hacking it out is most important, right? So I got a journalist as my co-author, Malini Goyal. All journalists, I mean, there's a lot they can't do, but they can write, right? So Malini was a great co-author. And by the way, one round of applause for Malini.
Yes, please.
Because she moved from Delhi, and like many other people said, I'll move just for a year and I'll move back to Delhi, and she never moved back. So 3 years, she's not here,
Okay.
but she is very much now a Bangalorean in just 3 years.
Yeah, I'll connect you. Yeah.
There's also a chapter on expats. A few of you here in this room are people who from other countries who have made Bangalore home, and we've spoken to a lot of them. And why do they find this this city more comfortable than? I think it was very common for people to move to Mumbai, right, before. I mean,
yeah.
Delhi before the pollution, Mumbai later. And that's something else.
It reminds me of that Hotel California song. You can check in any time, but you can
Bangalore,
never
you
leave.
can
All right, I mean, it's really interesting that you've captured Bangalore from these multiple dimensions, especially this mafia thing. I didn't know it existed, but happy to find out and join. The other thing is when you start out writing a book like this, it's a lot of time that goes into this, and 50% of those interviews, if you have to join, it's a lot of time. Did you feel somewhere midway that this will never get finished or never get done? Just a question, because many startups have this thought, right?
Yeah, so I think there was this COVID time where, again, I got very involved in all
Yes,
those
yes, 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 yes,
COVID
yes.
activities.
With the charitable things, yeah, that's the
Charitable-
other thing they were doing. That is United Way.
Oh, yeah, and United Way, and then we also started, this thing of all the venture capitalists.
Ah,
coming
yeah,
together.
right. The fund,
And,
yes, yes, yes.
The fund.
You'll find all this on Google, whatever he's saying, but yes.
Yeah, but I think this should have been 2 years, but yeah, because of COVID and
It got extended.
It took 3 years. But what changed because of time is that I said it should not be just about the book.
Hmm.
So when it's really important sometimes that this is where a lot of you have startup experiences, and everybody tells you just jump into jump into it, and then you'll
Find the way.
The dots connect, right? So I think that's what happened here, because this led me to the name of the book, Unboxing Bangalore, the City of New Beginning. Actually led me to think of starting a foundation called Unboxing Bangalore. So now a lot of well-meaning people in Bangalore have come together to start this foundation called Unboxing Bangalore. And Unboxing Bangalore is now a multi-purpose, multifaceted organization. There is a festival that is going to happen between December 1st to 11th.
You can put that slide on, Martin.
Yeah, December 1st to 11th. So it's going to be, how many of you have heard of the Edinburgh Fest? Oktoberfest. So there's the element of the Oktoberfest in Bangalore always. But the Edinburgh Fest is the most ticketed event in the world after the Olympics and World Cup soccer. How many of you knew this? And 40 to 50% of that city's economy comes from that fest.
Wow, that's
right. So I thought, in the global south, there is nothing. No city has a meaningful festival. And if Bangalore claims that we are a cosmopolitan city, we are kind of a melting pot, and there's a little bit of India in every way in the city, I think we should put it out there, right?
absolutely.
So it's just
Yeah.
not about Bangalore
the
being...
dates are there, yes.
Yeah,
yes.
it's Bangalore as a tech city is, of course, something we all know. But Bangalore as a cultural city, Bangalore that is able to kind of have people experience various aspects of India just in one place, because we actually have as many Bengalis and as many Keralites and as many North Indians, from UP, Bihar, as more than any other city
Correct,
in India,
absolutely.
right? So that cosmopolitan power, we wanted to put it out there in the
Like a
form of
mini
festival.
India,
Yeah.
in Bangalore, right?
In Bangalore. So it'll be a multi-genre, multi-category festival, 40 locations, 3,000 events in those 11 days. So
In the first edition, that's
first edition, no matter where you stay in Bangalore, you will see something that you can participate in.
Wow.
But give us a break. This will be the first one.
Correct.
So it's a pilot.
yes.
Hopefully next year we'll...
Yeah, absolutely. And I also saw a call at that at the event of people who would like to collaborate to connect with. They have to connect with Bangalore International Center head, or how's it?
I think all of you have heard of Ravi Chandar.
Yes.
Ravi Chandar, who is the founder of BIC, Bangalore International Center. He is the festival director. So you can connect with Jose.
Yes.
If there is something that you want to feel that you want to contribute,
Absolutely.
participate.
Or organize also.
Activate, organize in any part of Bangalore. And you can connect. You have Ravi Chandar's number?
Yes, I have.
Okay. So please connect them to Ravi Chandar.
Yes, Ravi Chandar also happens to be the honorary consul for for Slovenia in Bangalore.
Okay.
We had a speaker from Slovenia just in the previous panel. She came digitally, of course. Yeah, and
I'll also kind of make a request that if any city that you're from, any part of the world, wants to get any of these books, please let me know. I will send across these books because I just want to make sure that we bring our cities closer together. And we are the first city that also recently joined the World Culture Cities Forum.
In
which
India?
is-
We
no,
are
no,
the-
that's based out of
Okay.
London.
London, okay.
The mayor of London, London has this person called the culture mayor.
Okay, okay.
Right, so she is currently anchoring. So Bangalore is the first Indian city to be part of the World
Wow.
Culture Cities Forum.
Wow,
Yeah,
nice.
so, yeah.
So
there's a
many
lot
things.
happening, so
Yeah.
many things, so I think
Yes.
I'll let
So-
you go on with the rest of the
E-
thing, but if there's anything I can do for your city and bridge Bangalore closer to your city.
Yes.
I do a lot in sustainability in my life as an investor. So we are big agri-tech investors. So we have invested in some of the large agri-tech companies in the country, like AgroStar, Ninja
Correct.
Card,
Ninja
some
Card,
of these
yeah.
companies. We have also invested in companies that build products out of sustainable materials for the global north from India. There's one advantage India has which nobody else has, which is agri materials which are for free.
Correct.
Right? So your input materials are of zero
Cost.
almost. And I think people are done with recycling.
Correct.
I don't think people believe that any recycling efforts anywhere can go beyond 20%, right? 80% still goes to landfills. So the only solution is to build products with sustainable materials from scratch, right?
Scratch.
And that, I think, is where India has a big global advantage.
Great. So the bonus we have from Prashanth is to get an investment theme, right?
Yeah.
So, catch the direction.
So I think you can look at two companies. One is called EcoSol. EcoSol makes home products for the US market with Indian agri materials. It could be bagasse-based, husk-based, wheat husk-based, areca-based. So there are multiple materials.
Wow,
right, that
excellent.
Then we have the molded fiber, which is a big
Correct.
for packaging and
okay.
food-grade packaging and lots of other packaging. I think molded
So
fiber. is
plastic
huge.
gets out and this comes in.
Plastic gets out and the molded fiber gets in.
Wow.
So Fib Mold is a company we have invested in.
Great.
Looking at another company that does, which is Europe, India, cross-border. They have this special material that helps coat agri-based material, agri-based products to make them more water resistant. Right?
Okay.
So to be able to create
Shelf life,
the Tetra Pak or these other water container equivalent
Solutions.
So that's another company. We've not yet announced it,
Wow.
but that's another company we want to invest. We will invest in.
Great.
So I think there is no country that has become meaningful from an economy perspective just with services.
Correct.
And I think for India also, I feel we are at an opportune time where we can take advantage of the diversified global supply chain realities that are now in place and become a we may never become China, but I think even if we take away 15, 20, 25% of that manufacturing, because also some of this manufacturing now is of a low value.
Correct.
And I think China is moving slightly higher, and I think we have a lot of people in India still who have to move up.
Correct.
The economic
It reminds me of the early first, offshoring thing, and
Yes.
now innovation is here.
Yes, and while we build, just like the leapfrogging we did with mobile technologies, where we went smartphone first, I'm assuming that when we build industry in India, we will not build for industry 4.0, but we'll build for industry 5.0.
Wow, that's
right?
nice.
And so while we do things in India, hopefully we also can leapfrog in.
Perfect. I think, probably the 3D printing and protocols will start. We had, I want to mention, CM Patil was here from Krishi Kalpa. So he was showing your picture yesterday on the stage. So many of them saw you before you came. And then they are working with you, and he mentioned and thanked you, I think.
So the other problem in India is which CM might have spoken about, is this problem of how do you aggregate supply?
Correct.
Right? Aggregation of supply, even if you want to process food, global food security is a big opportunity.
Correct.
Right? And I think we can export a lot of raw material, commodities from India, but the real solution is to process.
Correct.
And if you want to process, you can't set up centralized processing in India everywhere.
Correct.
So there has to be decentralized processing and very smart enablement of the decentralized processing through technology.
Absolutely.
Where
Wow.
monitoring and managing and elevation of the decentralized processing has to be. Take a look at a company that we have not invested, but it's called S4S, right?
S4S,
S4S. So they they have these self-help groups in these smaller villages. Actually, each of them has some capacity to process. They aggregate it, test it, do the logistics, and they're able to now export.
Wow.
Right? So India, unlike China, will not be this humongous clusters, right? If you've been to China, there is this one cluster. If it's about home decor, it's like 10 miles.
Yeah.
10 miles,
Home
only
decor.
home decor,
Yeah.
retail, right? So India is not going to be like that. I think we are going to be a lot more fragmented. I think we have to use smart technology to aggregate it. This is the role for entrepreneurs.
Perfect.
Where you can use platforms, you can use technologies to enable that quality.
Absolutely.
You have to take ownership of quality. The processing is enabled, distributed manner, but you give them the right IP, you give them the right technology, you manage it through technology with the right IoT technologies, whatever you want to do, and you then guarantee that at volume you can provide it to your supplier, whoever your buyer is, right?
Perfect.
So the buyer does not have to deal with whatever, 10,000 small, which is never going to work. Nobody wants to deal with them,
Yeah.
right? So we have companies like Captain Fresh, which is doing that in the seafood space now.
Correct.
And we are taking that beyond. So we do that in India, then we replicate the same in Indonesia, in Vietnam, so I call this the China plus N strategy,
okay.
right? It's not China plus one. I don't think one country in the global south can replace what China is doing. So we have these new companies that start in India, and these platforms then aggregate supply across these South Asian countries. And Indian entrepreneurs are good and very, I guess, creative, and they're able to now scale.
Perfect.
By
Through tech.
So this is a big opportunity, right? India will become a manufacturing powerhouse by aggregating supply from smaller people through a tech platform which will standardize quality, which will elevate IP, and which will also make sure that there is predictable logistics for the buyer.
Wow. Let's give a big round of applause. I think what I really love is, somehow he's given us 4-5 investment themes to think about. And, that's the beauty, he's become generous in terms of also telling us the thought process. And therefore, if any of us decides to look carefully, we might find the right startups and right opportunities. So,
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Prashanth. Let's take a last photo together. Jain, I call you also come up to stage with us. Sir, you give this book to Jain because he's been a fanboy from that time. Hey, don't worry, man. We'll give the official. Come.